Selamat pagi. Welcome to the latest news from Bali Indonesia. This is July 20th, 2022, and my name is Bruce. And I always wanted to do this for a thumbnail because this is such an Indonesian thing. Well, you find this throughout Asia. If you're old enough to remember Richard Nixon, U.S. president, he used to do that. So I don't know why this is very popular with Asian women, but it is. Anyway, it is another beautiful day here, and if you are in the areas of the world that are going through the extreme heat waves, wow, I hope you are doing okay. I've been reading the news. Boy, it looks awful, awful. But here in Bali, well, it's lovely again today, up here in the north anyway. The temperature 29 degrees, wind speed 5.4 kilometers per hour, and the humidity is a very low 54%. And the SCC looks lovely today. Nice, gentle, undulating sea. There's lots and lots of stuff to talk about today. I'm gonna leave some of it for Friday because they're kind of developing stories. One is with the tech companies that aren't registered in Indonesia that the government is threatening to shut down or block. Today is the day, and we're gonna have to wait and see which ones register, which ones don't. The government has already said, no, we're not gonna block them right away. There will be administrative fines first, and eventually blocking if they do not register with the government. And so we'll see how that goes on Friday. Let's look at the numbers, which are increasing again. National new cases, 5,085. National recoveries, 2,596. National deaths, 6. Bali new cases, 167. Bali recovery, 68. And Bali deaths, 1. So what do we see? The numbers are fluctuating. Yesterday it was 3,500, today it's 5,000. A couple of days before that it was 4,000. So we're in that range, and we're gonna have a story about that coming up. Bali new cases, 167. We are creeping up slowly. And so far the government is staying steady and not going into any new restrictions or old ones, but you are still supposed to be wearing a face mask, and apparently that is not happening in a lot of places. Let's get on with the main story. Governor Koster explains the urgency of LNG terminal development in Bali. Pak Koster addressed the issue, and I've been talking about this a few segments over the last couple of videos about protest about the LNG terminal, which was supposed to be built in a mangrove area, and so it's going to affect mangroves, the ocean bottom, and coral reefs. He said that that's not going to happen. He admitted he is working hard to build Bali as a clean energy independent area, and one of them is by building a power plant on the island of the gods, another power plant. This effort was welcomed by state electricity company PLN, which this year built a power plant with a capacity of 2 times 100 megawatts in South Denpasar. The plant was originally planned to be built in East Java, but it was moved to Bali at the urging of the governor. Pak Koster said, I still have other agendas because now we have the 2 times 100 megawatts power plant, and previously there's 250 megawatts with gas, so now we have 450 megawatts in the south of Bali. Pak Koster said, we need to have an LNG terminal. And he said that the reason that a southern area, southern Bali, was chosen to build the LNG terminal is because most of the consumers of electricity are in that place. He said, it's Denpasar, Badung, Gianyar that need the most energy. Can it be built elsewhere? Yes, we could build it in Celukan Bawang. That's up here, down the road that way. But the electricity needs there are small. Of course, we don't need any electricity. It becomes expensive then, and it is inefficient. So it needs to be built in the south where the most urgent needs are. He said he's assigned Perusta, who is building this LNG plant, to carry this out. Because of the noise, that's how this was translated, because of the noise, I've ordered them not to build it in the mangrove area. My directive has been firm, the governor said. The governor said that Bali does not have sufficient reserves of energy. The governor said we have 1,150 megawatts available to us, and our maximum need during normal times before the pandemic was 940 megawatts, and 30% of that has to be reserves. So at this time, Bali has mediocre reserves, he said. He said that of the energy available, as much as 300 megawatts were channeled from outside of Bali, namely from the steam power plant located in Paitan district in Probolinggo, East Java. The energy of more than 300 megawatts is channeled to Bali via a submarine cable, and we've had problems with that in the past. And so the governor's plan is to make Bali independent, and so we generate our own electricity enough for the island. Gov Koster said in the future, Bali must become an energy independent area with clean energy, not from coal or fossil fuels. He hopes that the fulfillment of energy needs both for domestic and tourism and industry in Bali must have certainty and sustainability. He said that this should be the focal point of our attention, and he's sure that many people don't understand this. They're not aware of this. But this is his future agenda, is to protect Bali's political, economy, social, and cultural in the future so that Bali does not depend too much on outsiders. Gov Koster said that the more we depend on outside, the more dangerous it will be for our future life, for our children and our grandchildren. That sounds kind of ominous. Gov Koster said he's rejected an offer to add 500 megawatts of electricity energy from the central government to be distributed from outside into Bali, and he reasoned that the energy source would not function as the main line. He said, we'll take 340 megawatts from East Java. That's it. And he said, we're going to generate enough electricity on our own to sustain Bali, and the 340 megawatts, that's going to be backup. So that if something happens, okay, we can do without it until it's fixed. The main thing, he said, is that we generate enough electricity on our own so that Bali is independent. Pretty interesting. And so there are so many articles about this, and this is why this is the main story. And he has said in other articles, I'm not going to go through all of them, that where the plant is built is being re-looked at again, reconceived, and it is going to be in a place where it doesn't affect the mangroves, doesn't affect coral reefs, doesn't affect the sea, and it is going to be part of this development that I talked about in the last video or in 2 videos ago, I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on this because this is an important issue. One, because we need energy, because all of these things and these new beach clubs, and that's coming up in a segment, they've got to use enormous amounts of energy, enormous amounts of electricity. And 2, because we want to protect Bali's natural resources, and the governor is thinking about that, it seems. I hope so. Okay, as everybody is well aware, on the 17th, the booster vaccination requirements for traveling started, and let's take a look and see what's happening there. Booster vaccination travel requirements for PPDN, that's domestic travelers. Passenger movement at Ngurah Airport is stable. So the authorities at Ngurah said that the booster requirement is not slowing things down. Everything is moving just as it should be. If you're just coming in again, and I appreciate people leaving comments talking about what's happening at the airport in terms of the development, thank you. If you're coming in and you see that things seem slower than usual, please leave a comment. Or if they're good, leave a comment as well. So apparently the booster requirement has not slowed the travel down. In fact, domestic travel has increased a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. So there were concerns that the booster requirement was going to stop people from coming into Bali, and according to this article, that is not happening. On the first day of application, there was an increase in the number of movements, especially in arrival. According to Stakeholder Relations Manager, the data from July 1st to July 17th showed that passenger movements on domestic routes on arrival reached 222,286 people. The movement records for more than 2 weeks range from 10,000 to 15,000 a day, with the highest numbers on July 1st, which was 15,689. Departures from Bali, 242,104 during that period. Average daily movement of 10,500 to 16,000. He said that he hopes that despite changes to a number of travel requirements for PPDN, the trend of increasing passenger movements will be maintained and will continue to increase in the future. He said this is also in line with the implementation of health protocols at the airport, which continue to be considered. And the airport is making vaccination services available at the airport. And so far as I understand, it is only for residents. According to the chairman of the Bali Villa Association, Putu Gede Hendrawan, he said numbers are starting to rise. And so he considered the situation to be something of a dilemma. Which one should be sacrificed? Which one should not, he said. Safety, health, or numbers? However, he said it must be remembered that Balinese economy mostly relies on the tourism sector. Whether this will be an obstacle to the visit of foreign tourists or domestic tourists is something that he is worried about. But whatever it is, he hopes that the implementation of the new provisions regarding PPDN will not have a negative impact on the condition of Bali's tourism. For this reason, he said, the technical implementation may be arranged in such a way so as not to invite complaints or minimize tourist complaints. For example, there should be no long queues or messy buildups during screening at the entrances. If this happens, he said, things need to be rearranged. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing some comments of people that are going to or coming from the airport. What's the situation like today? So the numbers are up. And what is the government saying? Minister of Health predicts the peak of COVID in Indonesia could pass from July. So in previous videos, I was talking about how the government said that the peak would be in July, around mid-July, right around now. But the government is saying, the Minister of Health is saying, it could actually be a little later. So looking at the end of the month, start of August, he doesn't give any exact dates. Wise man, if you're gonna make predictions, don't get stuck with messy things like dates. Minister Budi added that the false prediction of the spikes was caused by a number of things, including the arrival of pilgrims in Indonesia, people coming in from the Hajj, and it's feared that they will be bringing in a new variant, as well as findings from the Omicron subvariants in Indonesia, namely BA4, BA5. Pak Budi said, we'll see with the return of the Hajj pilgrims, we'll look at the profile. Maybe the predictions of peak cases will change somewhat because indeed the Hajj pilgrims are arriving and some of them are affected. The minister also assessed that for the time being the transmission rate of BA2.75, and I talked about that several times already in previous videos, is still lower than the two previous subvariants, BA4 and BA5. According to him, the Ministry of Health is still waiting for studies and research related to the characteristics of BA2.75 based on findings in a number of countries. Indonesia does now have 3 positive cases of BA2.75. They were detected by using the whole genome sequence examination on the 17th, the other day. Of the 3 cases, 1's imported, 2 local, and 1 was an Australian foreigner in Bali, and 2 were a mother and child in Jakarta. And so, I have BA2.75. Numbers are going up. Are the numbers going to continue to go up? I don't know. What about the Hajj pilgrims? Are they coming back here? Are they going to be spreading the disease? And what about tourists wandering around not wearing masks? Is that going to spread in the areas? And what about these places where we're packing in 10,000 possible people into a place and nobody is wearing masks? Well, we'll talk about that soon. Some good news for travel. Bali Airport adds more international flight routes. This time, Philippines AirAsia. So the airport continues to add international flights. Most recently, the airport served the inaugural flight of the Philippines AirAsia airline with the Manila-Denpasar-Manila route. The international flight route started flying on July 17th and will fly regularly every Friday and Sunday using Airbus A320-216 aircraft. The inaugural flight carried 139 passengers from Manila and was greeted with the ceremonial water cannon and flowers, and everybody was happy to see them. And the Philippines AirAsia plane returned to Manila in the early hours of Monday carrying 90 passengers. According to the airport, based on passenger occupancy data on the Philippines AirAsia flight Manila-Denpasar route, it was considered a good start for Philippines AirAsia. According to the airport data, the Philippines AirAsia route also adds to the statistical record of regular international flights currently served by the airport in Bali. We now have 22 airlines, 12 countries, and 20 routes. So good news, more tourists coming in. Okay. And what about the economy? Now, this is a story here. This is related directly to Bali. There's another story out in the Jakarta Post, which I'm not talking about now, which is related to Indonesia as a whole. In both stories, the number of poor people in the country and on this island are declining. The Jakarta Post article talks about how the spread, the difference between the poor and the rest of the people is not getting smaller. But we'll talk about that at a different video. Poor population in Bali declining, decreasing unemployment, and rising hotel TPK. TPK is the number of rooms occupied. In March 2022, based on data from Bali's provincial BPS, the percentage of poor people in Bali decreased by 4.57% compared to September 2021. The percentage of poor people in urban areas in March was recorded at 4.23%, which experienced a decline of 0.10% from the condition in September of 2021. Percentage of poor people in rural areas, a little higher, was recorded at 5.39%, and that decreased by 0.29 percentage points. In general, since March 2015 up until March 2022, so over 7 years, the poverty rate in Bali has fluctuated both in terms of numbers and percentages. Several factors influencing the level of poverty in Bali include the improving economic growth of the first quarter of this year. According to this article, Bali's economic growth in the first quarter was 1.46% compared to the third quarter of 2021, which was negative 2.93%. The increasing growth of household consumption is a factor in reducing the poverty rate, and not only that, but the number of people who are working has increased, so more jobs, and of course that makes sense as hotels, restaurants, bars, spas, transportation is all opening up. People are getting back to work, and so of course the unemployment rate is going to go down. Room occupancy rate, TPK, which I talked about at the start of this, is recorded at 21.9%, an increase of 131.50% compared to September 2021, when it was 9.46%. In addition, foreign tourist visits in March increased as well compared to September 2021. Okay, we already know that. And if you've seen any videos or if you are here wandering around, and I appreciate people that are making comments saying, wow, there's 5 times as many people as there were a few months ago. Last time I was here, those kind of comments really give us an idea of what's happening here. And of course, you can see videos, Bobo and the monkeys and Uncle Chan and others showing the number of people wandering around. So we've got more people, the unemployment is dropping, the number of people getting out of poverty is increasing. All good signs economically, and hopefully we will not have a huge spike to put a stop to all of this positive, good economic news. And here is an update on the HOLYWINGS story. I talked about this before, where HOLYWINGS was offering free bottles of booze to people named Mohammed and Maria. What an idiot move. Well, the Bali resort is now open. They went through the big opening on the 18th, and it is no longer called HOLYWINGS. It is now called Atlas Beach Fest. Why is the name changed? Does it have something to do with the problems with HOLYWINGS in Indonesia? According to shareholder and famous controversial lawyer Hotman Paris, he said, it's got nothing to do with that. We've changed the name because we have new professional management. And he mentioned professional in his little welcome speech several times, as he's saying that the management before was not professional and now they have professional management. I don't know. But they have a new name. And if you look at the photo there, what is that monstrosity there? I guess the days of sitting on the beach just kind of chilling, looking at palm trees, they're gone. You can look at this building. The grand opening was lively, and it was attended by many important guests. According to Hotman Paris, the Atlas Beach Fest is the largest beach club in Asia. And it's interesting, in this article, in the interviews that he's doing, he makes specific mention that the beach club is being run by Indonesians. And he said, our neighboring beach club is run by foreigners. This is an Indonesian operation, and we provide jobs for local people, and it's run by Indonesians, not by foreigners. Interesting. He said he's not sure how many people employed in the workforce are local, but he said the majority are local. He said there's approximately 1,000 workers, 120 security personnel, and that the beach club is suitable for a family holiday. This monstrosity will be able to accommodate 10,000 guests. Think about the traffic down there. Boy. And 10,000 guests. So you can sit on the beach. Well, actually, you can sit in one of those beach chairs, I guess, by the 300-meter pool that they have, and contemplate life along with 9,999 of your friends. He said that in addition to being able to accommodate 10,000 tourists, there are 52 restaurants and merchandise outlets, more than 1,000 employees, the 300-meter swimming pool that I mentioned, and that it is a one-stop shopping place for people. So get over there and spend some money, and you make the Indonesians that own it happy and rich. Okay. That's a place I won't be going to. And let's get down to foot and mouth disease. And as I said, foot and mouth disease is spreading. There is now 263 districts and cities in 22 Indonesian provinces that have been affected by FMD. All provinces on Java Island and some provinces in Sumatra have been categorized as red zone. So it's not just in Bali that we've got this. It is all over the country. Preventing the spread of PMK in Bali, DPR-RI struggles to maximize vaccines. Member of Commission 4, Dr. Made Europe, said that the allocation of vaccines from the center to each region has been carried out, and every regency in Bali has been getting vaccines so that they can vaccinate the cattle. Dr. Made said, we have fought for the vaccine and we have started to vaccinate all regencies in Bali. Hopefully with the vaccine, Bali will return to zero regarding PMK. That's what's called foot and mouth disease here. Regarding compensation for farmers whose cattle were slaughtered because they were identified as being infected, he said that he would definitely fight for some compensation if it's available, money is available in the budget. He said right now his party is focused on fighting for the maximum number of vaccines in Bali. Based on allocation data, as of Monday, there are around 17,000 vaccines available in Bali, and that number will increase in order to prevent the spread of PMK. Right now, in Buleleng, vaccines have been focused in the Grogak area, as I said the other day, because that is the focal point of the most number of cases. Dr. Made said that regarding the conditional slaughter of cows, he hopes that the community can give up on their cows, can give them their cows, because this step is taken so that PMK does not become a problem that will be prolonged. And right now it's being estimated that the compensation may be as much as 6 to 8 million a head for cattle, depending on the size of the cattle and their weight and a number of other factors. And so that's some good news and should encourage farmers to get their cattle slaughtered if they are tested positive. And final story on this, Pejarakan villagers surrender dozens of livestock, are cheaply paid, and livestock slaughtered. So this is one village in Buleleng that has had a lot of cows infected, and the price that they're being forced to sell them at is very low. Usually the price of productive female cows can be around 15 million per head. However, due to the foot and mouth outbreak, the cows are being sold for somewhere to 6 to 8 million. So in this village alone, there are a total of 240 cows, 156 infected. According to the local agricultural authority, apart from being bought by butchers for that low price, and the central government will provide compensation. Values can range from anywhere from 6 to 7 to 8 million per head. Add that to the price that they are selling them for, and he said they're getting almost what they would get if they sold it as a healthy animal. Plus, he said the government has promised to provide incentives for superior female cattle breeders who are willing to accept conditional slaughter options. And so the government is making moves here to get this under control. And that is it for today. If you found this video useful, helpful, informative, interesting, scintillating, humorous, non-irritating, I would appreciate a thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Videos are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Sunday, there is a cooking video that comes out. My wife does it. She is an excellent cook. If you've seen her previous videos, you know she makes some pretty amazing things. She is now on a different channel. I gave her her own channel to try to increase her viewership with Indonesians, and you can find her videos right up here. And so, if you're interested in Indonesian food, check it out. Watch a video, give her a thumbs up, and subscribe so that she gets encouraged to keep making these videos, because then I get really good food every Sunday. Okay, that is it. Thanks for visiting. Stay safe. Be kind to someone today, and I will see you on Friday.